Yes, folks, it's Tales from the Jails with John G. Sutton. Thank you very much for watching this channel. Do please like and subscribe. It's dead simple. Just give it a little click down there. It really helps this channel, you know. Seriously. I want to talk today about the prison crisis. I mean, that's what they're openly saying now on television, the main news, BBC News. Crisis in the prison system. I mean, this is not coming shouldn't be a surprise, really, should it? I mean, the prisons have been mismanaged for the last 20 years. Now, the accommodation is full. There isn't any room. There's nearly 88,000 people in prison. I mean, some of them doing really serious offences like not paying their telephone licence and failing to pay council tax or failing to pay motoring offence fines for 35 miles an hour, in a 30 zone. You know, some terrible offenders out there, dangerous for society, you know. Lock them up. Yeah, that's what they're doing. Well, I think they're not locked up. Have you noticed that they've not locked up the three individuals that attacked the police at Manchester Airport? Have you noticed that they've not locked them up? I wonder why that is. Do you think it could be something to do with the fact that they're not white indigenous population, white Caucasian males? It could be that, because they like locking them up. As my friend Bob Yates, ex-bombardier Bob Yates from the British Army, told me today when he visited, and he seemed quite perturbed about that. And Bob's a very decent guy. 13 and a half years he gave to the British Army. He served, and he's perturbed. And he's just an ordinary citizen like me. We're all perturbed. We're all worried about this. And as you've seen what's happening, there's riots in the streets. So why now are they having a prison crisis? Well, they've nowhere to put them. They want to lock all these rioters up. Yeah, now, I disagree with people rioting, personally. I don't agree with throwing bricks, stones, bottles, fireworks, or whatever, or deliberately abusing the police because they have a difficult job to do. Not that they're doing it half the damn time, but they do have a difficult job to do. Don't forget they've got to go dancing when they have an ethnic minority parade around the streets of London or Manchester. The police have got to do that. They've got to go dancing with them. Have you noticed that? Well, I mean, it's part of the job now, boys, isn't it? And, of course, you've got the blues and twos flashing and the two-tones blaring as they race across to McDonald's. We've got to get the Big Macs in, yeah? Otherwise, you can't grow an enormous arse, can you? Like half of them sit on all day. But anyway, policing by consent, as I was saying the other day. And I come from a family of police officers. My brother was a detective inspector. My father was a detective inspector. I couldn't join the police because I'm colourblind, couldn't pass the medical. Joined the prison service, and let me tell you this, the prisons are absolutely very little in common with the prisons that I worked in 45 years ago. They don't bear a great deal of resemblance to that. When I worked in the prisons, it was a case of you go into your cell and shut the door. And guess what happened? Prisoner goes to cell, goes in, shuts his own door. They don't do it now. I mean, of course, how are they going to do it? How are they going to back it up? Because back in the 60s and 70s, the staff were able to back up their orders. You know, if you don't actually comply, well, we've got a few blokes here who want to introduce you to the school bully. And the school bully will definitely give you a taste of your own medicine. Defiance, if you dare. That was it in the days. I mean, there seem to be a deterrent now. What are you going to get now? A whack with a handbag from one of the hostesses? Yeah. How are they going to handle disturbances on the wings? Yeah, well, I've done reports of what they're doing. They really give the inmates a good telling off. Oh, stop it at once. Oh, don't do that. I mean, come on. Why have we got female prison officers in a male prison? I'll tell you why. Because they're being run, half of them are being run, well, a good number of them are being run for profit. So it's cheaper that females work for less money, you know. I actually checked, and this is the God's honest truth, I've got the pay slips to prove it. When the last year of service that I gave in to the prison system before I was medically retired, which you can read about, by the way, in my latest book, HMP Manchester Prison Officer Part 3. I was medically retired because I was physically assaulted, not by inmates, but by staff serving prison officers, senior prison officers. But my last pay for the last 12 months service, complete 12 months service, was £17,500, and that was in the year 1984 to 85. Now, I have looked on, you can do it yourself, there's an artificial intelligence app on Skype, it's called Copilot. If you type in there, what is the equivalent today of £17,500 in 1984-85? And the answer is almost £60,000. That was my wage for the final year that I worked in, but I was a hospital officer. And I was the highest grade hospital officer you could get without being promoted to a supervisory rank. But nowadays we've got NHS staff in there doing it, nurses. Somebody in the Home Office decided that they were going to do away with the hospital service and introduce NHS trained staff employed by the NHS. Yeah. So anyway, we're dealing with what is a prison crisis today, and it's brought about by sentencing people to imprisonment for petty offences. A lot of people who are in prison are in there for doing very minor things, as I've already outlined, and sentencing like 6 months, 3 months. It's just nonsense. It is absolute nonsense. All that such a sentence would give is it would disrupt the individual's life, make them virtually unemployable in any responsible position, and damage their life. Also, we've got the idea now, through this Operation Early Dawn, which started today, by the way. They've implemented it. They've had it on the books for a while, but now it's there. They're holding prisoners in police cells. Now, I don't know if you've spent any time walking around the police cells or actually enjoyed the accommodation. I've been in the police cells a number of times when I was escorting inmates and producing them to the courts, etc. And one of the first rules about imprisonment is you should be focusing on rehabilitation. There is no rehabilitation facilities available, no education facilities, no proper exercising facilities available in police cellular accommodation. If you don't believe that, all you've got to do is go around to your local police station, ask the sergeant on the desk if you can have a look inside the cells, and if he's got half a modicum of decency about him, he'll snatch you and throw you into one. Then you can see how it feels for yourself. Seriously. I believe that this prison crisis has been engineered by the Home Office and the Ministry of Justice, who haven't got a clue what they're doing. And as for the hostess system, I believe that's Phil. I mean, I admire these ladies for actually having the nerve to do it. Apart from the ones that are spending their time, what they're doing, smuggling drugs in and having sex in the cells. I mean, it gives an all new meaning to the term banged up, doesn't it? Banged up in the cells, literally banged up in the cells. So I was going to sing you a song because it's that time of day, folks. The Song Dinger. Yeah, it brings fear into people's hearts. Larry and his goats are heading for the hills now, rather than listen to the sultry tones of John G. Sutton singing Folsom Prison Blues, which was requested. So here we go. I hear the train a-comin', it's rollin' around the bend, and I ain't seen the sunshine since, well, I don't know when. I'm stuck in Folsom Prison, and time keeps dragging on, but that train keeps a-rollin' on down to San Antone. When I was just a baby, my mama told me, son, never be a bad boy, don't ever play with guns. But I shot a man in Reno just to watch him die. When I hear that whistle blowing, I hang my head and cry. I bet there's rich folks eating in a fancy dining car. They're probably drinking coffee and smoking big cigars. Well, I know I had it coming. I know I can't be free, but those people keep a-moving, and that's what tortures me. Well, if they freed me from this prison, if that railroad train was mine, I bet I'd move it on a little farther down the line. Far from Folsom Prison, that's where I want to stay. And I let that lonesome whistle blow my blues away. There you go. I cocked that up at the end, didn't I? Tales from the Jails.